Game.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Fine.
Uh, we're actually having a research about the need for a high specification laptop for the students in Mapua. I will ask the first question. In what way will the recommendation of the high specification laptop to students boost their learning?
Actually, the institute recommend it's not really high because the institute um, thinks or believes that if the student has this kind of gadget, preferably the laptop, with this kind of specification, um, they will the students can maximize the use of the laptop. How how to maximize? Of course, by the use of different tools that will enable learning much faster and more easier. I believe it's not really high because we have I7 and this institute only specified I5 or I3.
Uh, so, how will it be how I mean I'm lost. Sorry. So as you said, sir, it's not that high. So the specification of the car i5 which we have research is around 2.4 or 2.5 gigahertz. Do you think that speed is too much or is it very minimal yet for the for students use?
Um, when it comes to technology, we all know that it really runs fast and it really develops fast than what we are expecting. So with that, we all know that gigahertz of the CPU is the number of data that can be processed by the CPU per second. So if if your gigahertz specification is much more higher, then of course your CPU will more data will be processed by the CPU. So your laptop will be much more faster than the usual ones. For me, it's not minimal. For me, it's really right to have a much more higher gigahertz specification for the speed.
So I have you over to Anthony. He'll ask the second question.
Um, Sir, if does having a laptop with lower specification than the required be enough for the students?
Having a lower specification, um, actually, the main issue here is having a laptop that can run those e-learning tools or learning tools enabled for the students because the laptop is there to aid the students in their learning. So the institute provide this kind of specification as recommended but not really required. It's up again to the parents of those students. It's up to your parents where if you will follow the specifications or recommended specifications set by the institute. So the institute has only said or specified that kinds of recommendation because they believe that with this kind of specification, the students can actually run more efficiently those tools recommended for learning.
And, why is specified that it has to be I5 than I3?
Well, the needs. Well, there's an issue about. There's a saying that we have the need for speed nowadays. That all of us or all of the people here in the earth, not only in our country, has is going for mobility and is going for data. Right? So that's why our telephone companies or our telcos are specifying more bandwidth and acquiring new technologies to provide more data capacity for its user. So that kind of specification, I find, is enough for students to pursue their learning. Although we can also run programs in i3 or lower than i3, but I used to do things for the future so that your laptop can also be used. By the way, for the computers, we believe that there's a lifespan for every laptop or every gadget, and that is a maximum of 4 years. So after 4 years, although the laptop is still working, but certain programs might not be able to run by that time because technology develops faster than what we are expected.
On the third question, sir, what specific field can the laptops make a higher attainment of knowledge for students? High attainment of knowledge.
High attainment of knowledge.
Oh, yes.
What specific
Field. A specific field. If you use laptop, what specific field that it can give you a high attainment of knowledge?
Actually, it's up to the users.
The user.
It's not really on the laptop. The laptop is only a tool or an aid for learning and an aid to run those programs. Okay, so again, it's up to the users.
Sir, to you, what kind of field that it can really maximize the higher attainment of knowledge for you?
Okay, again, the use of softwares, much more recent software or latest software, much better. Of course, the use of the internet.
I'll add some. Do you think what would be, what are your feedback on this laptop, on students that use this laptop? So what is your feedback as a professor to the performance of your students who use this laptop? Are they, compared to other batches that didn't have this kind of specification, are they more efficient or are they not?
Okay, since I reached here, top year, or reached at Lapua since 2010, of course, way back 2010, there's no ISAO, right? It's recent that we have that kind of specification. Nevertheless, we don't have batches that doesn't have any laptop. It is on starting batch 12 last year that the institute recommended that the students have this specification. But in the prior years, actually it's the students and their parents' decision if their son or daughter will have this kind of specification with the laptop. And since we all know that it can help, laptop boost, aid. Again, that is a tool or an aid. It's up to the students if how they will use this tool in order to learn. So if you're asking me about how did they perform, how did the students without laptop perform rather than those students with laptop? I guess the specific answer would be they all both perform, but in a different way. Those students with laptop perform much efficient in terms of much faster than those students without.
That's all for
need an answer for that.
Ano ba?
Tapos na.
Tapos na nga eh.